For me, you work and work and work, and then occasionally you get a little bit of the subconscious juice comes out. I mean, maybe I make 20 paintings a year or something, and there's just like always a couple that kind of hit that note that is like really singy. I didn't grow up with abstract or conceptual art or anything like that. So like for me, the root is really like about storytelling. I was always interested in drawing and sort of building things and the creative side of things as a kid. And growing up in Kansas, I mean, we were like constantly building like sculptures out of trash and you know, I've always been like engaged with the construction and drawing and things like that, and also playing music. So that was a big part. But in a small town in Kansas, the idea that it was like a profession was just, it didn't exist for me. So it wasn't really until I transferred to Emily Carr, which is an art school in Vancouver. And there I met Peter Schoof, who's a great painter, who was my professor there. And he showed me like, oh yeah, this can be a job, like if that you can do this. And so I left school a little early and kind of got started quite young. Some of my earliest picture memories are the post office in my town had this great mural in the post office, which was like, you know, the sort of workers in the field style. And it was probably like a fresco or egg tempera. And it was just like beautifully done. And it's a picture telling a story. In Kansas, the artist Thomas Hart Benton was a real presence in as I was growing up as a kid. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's an artist that I guess was a social realist and made these like wild, really swoopy pictures of, you know, poor farmers on the plains and like all sorts of things. I guess it was sort of like a Diego Rivera type political artist, but an amazing picture maker and someone that I grew up that was present for me as a young kid. And then I guess as I started to look, as I started to sort of be more aware of art history, I was instantly attracted to Bruegel. Like I love those paintings because, you know, at the time when, you know, a lot of their colleagues were kind of painting these religious scenes, there were these painters painting like, you know, life, and it's funny, and it includes like tools and things from the day. And I think like you can look at like a Bruegel or something and see it's so much more alive than like grand concepts trying to sort of like paint these like religious concepts. And his paintings are super specific, and there's a story in the paintings. There's something there. Like they're both a celebration and a skewering of modern life from that time. And I think to me that's really an interesting entryway into painting. The paintings have always been, to one degree or another, narrative. And I think like the ones that I think that are my better works are the ones that like the story is right in the middle of being a story, and more of just an opening. I mean, they're not illustrations, but there is a story there. But like I often don't really have an idea of what the story is. I have maybe a sentence in my head, like a car driving along a duck pond or something, and then the sentence is just the architecture of the drawing. And so then I'll make the drawing, which takes maybe 5 minutes. Then you have the sort of scene, the set, and then as the painting goes, I kind of let the characters or the objects float in and out. Figurative painting has been quite like staid and nostalgic in a lot of ways. I feel like until recently, and I've always thought like, why not represent things that are happening now and like put some like proper nouns in the paintings. I mean, we live in a world of branded, everything is like specific. You know, there's a chair, which is not proper, which is a noun, and there's a Eames chair, which is like a proper noun, like a specific. Like, the reason, like, I think that rap music I've always been drawn to over sort of like the contemporary rock music is that like rap music is specific, and it's obsessed with dating itself, and it's obsessed with referencing. It's like anti-nostalgic, and I think that is so potent for me. Mostly my paintings are sort of celebrations and things I'm interested in, but they're also a lot about sort of, I mean, there's a lot of personal like class insecurity cooked into the paintings, and the sort of reflection on the consumer culture that's so attractive and horrific at the same time. Like I grew up middle class in a small Kansas town, and the art world is completely foreign to me, and like as an artist, you're around a bunch of rich people and you always feel super poor. It's a weird game, and you kind of can feel like a bit like a jester at times. So like some of that is baked into the paintings. Like I did that show Cosmic Hedge that was kind of about like modern finance and this like weird bro culture that is like around a lot of modern finance and art buying. And so I've done quite a few paintings that kind of reflect my insecurity around that, in that world, I guess you could say. I'm very fascinated by the mechanisms that like turn the cranks of finance. Like I just did a painting where it's like a sort of crypto trader on like international waters in a boat, and I think like that's a person that only existed for a few years. Instead of being politically critical in the paintings, which I do at some points have kind of a knife's edge out, but mostly it's I like to sort of look into a world, and I'll read books or I'll like look into like I was interested in like the finance world, and so I like listened to all these sort of accounts from like Wall Street and like all these autobiographies from traders and things like that, and kind of use that like almost like a film director would to like give the subject some flavor and some like real touches. And so like I've also done this with like sports and different kind of modern or contemporary walks of life that I find interesting and kind of unrepresented in painting. And so in that way, I guess I'm being critical, but I'm also putting it out there and being appreciative of like these different subcultures and like worlds that are out there. For most things, painting is not the right medium. Like I think a lot of people are making, or definitely have made, paintings that should just be essays. Because like, I mean, if you're trying to really communicate something, just write it down. If you have like a real point. For me, I don't think painting is really for points in that particular way. I mean, if it's not about the sort of painting first, it's not going to work. Like if the politics or whatever come first, I guess it's like poetry and not like prose.